Hello everyone, welcome back to Jake's Scary Unusual. In today's terrible story, this is a family story that you guys are going to want to stick to the end to see. This is absolutely insane, and this actually happened to me, my mother, and a few of my friends and my sister's friends at a young age. You guys are going to want to stick around to see. This story is absolutely 100% real, and it was so long ago that actually I had to be told the story over again. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and definitely subscribe if you haven't already. And please share with all your friends on social media. Enjoy the video, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. This is going to be a good one. Bye now. On this one summer night when I was younger and my mother was sitting on the front porch just smoking a cigarette like she normally does, she was looking outside, on that one part of the porch. It's the front, mind you, and she's looking up at the moon. And she's like, wow, that's a really beautiful moon tonight. How perfect of a night it is. But she actually couldn't be more wrong about that statement. She's looking down the street, up the street actually, I should say, depending on the way. It's actually a one-way street. And she's looking up it, and there's this green car. Really sketchy green car. This was the early 2000s, so, a lot of cars were more square or kind of circular in some senses with its curves and stuff like that. So it looked a little more creepy than a modern-day car, And she's looking up the street, and she sees it coming down, and it's slowly going past our house. And, the porch light is on, so it's very lit up. You can see her. And this car stops right in front of the house and then backs up really quick. And then 5 minutes later, she's like, oh my gosh, it's that car again. Who the hell is this? And it goes flying past her and then backs up again. And she's going on the inner porch this time, to get a little more protection to see. And she also turns the light off. She's still smoking a cigarette at the time. And then another 5 minutes goes by. She's just now watching to see if this is a creep or something. Who the hell does this? Who just sits there and goes back and forth in their car? That's very weird and very strange. That's not a normal thing to actually do on a night like that. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And here he comes again, going slowly past the house. And then he backs up again. Slowly this time, not as rapid as the first time. It's even worse this time. So something must be going on here. And then another 5 minutes goes by, and there's this guy again, slowly coming down the street. This time, he parks it right in the middle of the road, gets out of the car, and comes onto the grass. And by this point, my mother went inside. She's looking out the window to see if this guy's actually coming onto our property. And yes, he did. He's sneaking, going slowly onto the grass. And then, ba-boom, ba-boom, he gets on our front porch. This guy's actually on our front porch at this moment. This is horrible. This is absolutely tragic in so many ways. This guy must be a peeping Tom. What does he want, and why is he on our porch? By this time I was like 5, my sister was like 12, 13. So, it was not good because she had a household full of 5 kids. My sister, her friends, and then me. And we were all sleeping downstairs that night. So it's actually horrible that this had to happen on this one summer night. It could have happened on another night when maybe we were over our friends or up in our rooms and my father was home. No, she was home alone. It was just a horrible experience for everyone. And she's trying to keep herself calm while trying to protect us. All the doors and windows were locked. And this guy actually gets on the porch and he's trying to look in the windows. Everything was locked, sealed, curtains were down, and luckily he couldn't see in. But she ends up dialing 911 because who the hell wants to deal with someone like this? This creep. This weirdo trying to look into our house. It's disgusting. It's horrible. Who's he trying to look at? The kids or my mother? It's unfortunate. My dad wasn't home because he probably would have did some damage to the guy. He's not only trespassing, but he's trying to look inside the house without even asking for permission to come onto our property. in this manner at this time of night? Like, who does that? And then he goes away, and then she calls 911 again because they still haven't responded. This is about 20 minutes later already. And then she does for another hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. She dials 911 4 times. And the police still haven't shown up. And this guy, this whole time, was creeping around our house, looking for ways in, going through the bushes, looking in the garage, and then comes on the deck, trying to get in the back door. She heard it jingle, like trying to get in the door, and you can hear him walking on the deck and then the front porch again. It was absolutely terrifying. It was a horrible, horrible experience my mother had to go through, and luckily she didn't let us know until the cop came, like, hey, hold on, kids, I have to go talk to this nice police officer out here. It took about 4 hours for the cop to actually arrive. But when he did, this guy was long gone. Thankfully, he left about an hour prior to that. And he actually sat on the front porch with my mother for 6 hours, the whole night until about 8 a.m. And it was an absolutely incredible thing for this officer to do. I thank him to this day for keeping us safe and, keeping an eye on my mother, in this situation. He was waiting for this guy to come back. It's so creepy. That this guy was creeping around not only our neighborhood, but our house specifically for hours at night. It's so bone chilling. There's so many things to think about what this guy might have done or might have tried to have done. It's like you think about it yourself, like what if that happened to you? What are you gonna do? Especially if just your mother, nothing in the house to really defend yourself, It's one of those things. You have all the kids, and it's like you have no one to call, right? Because at the time there was no number for my father from his work. It was a different time. This was early 2000s where, there was just landlines. It was a little harder to get a hold of someone in an emergency in a workplace. And luckily, the guy never came back. It was the next morning, and everything was all well and dandy at that point, and the cop leaves. And surprisingly, 2 weeks later, the cop and the sheriff come knocking on our door. And he has pictures of 5 men from a lineup. And she's like, how am I going to determine this from the pictures? And then she realizes, oh, wait, that's him. And they end up arresting the guy. And this actually happened to another woman. And that's how they really narrowed it down. Because the other lady picked the same guy. So this Peeping Tom was already picked once before. Luckily, the guy was sent to jail. I mean, this is disturbing that people did this. And still do it to this day. Luckily, I haven't heard any stories around here lately. But definitely don't try and come on our porch, right? I mean, nowadays, it's kind of a different world we live in. Everyone has to be protecting themselves, no matter what. It's a terrifying world. It's a real, unfortunate reality we have to live more so than ever before. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And please share with your friends on social media. If you had any stories like this, please feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Again, guys, have a great night and a great day. Stay tuned for the next video on Friday. Peace out. Bye now.